Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are diving into something absolutely massive. I mean, one of the most awe-inspiring global gatherings in all of human history, the sacred journey of Hajj. As we speak, literally millions of Muslims from all over the planet are making their way to the house of Allah in Mecca. It's deeply physical, it's intensely emotional, and it's just profoundly spiritual. We're gonna break down exactly what this journey actually is, where it all started, and why it's a total game changer for nearly a quarter of the world's population. Now just picture this. Millions of voices from every corner of the globe chanting the exact same phrase in perfect unison, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, which means, here I am, O Allah, here I am. Talk about goosebumps, right? It's the ultimate statement of arrival. By saying this out loud, pilgrims are literally stripping away all their worldly status, their jobs, their bank accounts, their backgrounds, just to answer this one divine call. It's a completely overwhelming sensory experience that literally shakes the ground they walk on. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, the great journey of Hajj. Then we'll look at the history and origins. Third, the essential pillars. Fourth, the strict rules for pilgrims. And finally, the purification of the soul. Let's get right into it. Starting off with section 1, the great journey of Hajj. And I say great because it is truly a journey unlike absolutely anything else on earth. Look at the sheer scale of this. We are talking about millions of people from Asia, Africa, Europe, the Americas, the Arab nations, the whole shebang. They leave the comfort of their homes, taking flights, boats, buses, you name it, all to converge on one single sacred location in Saudi Arabia. It's an absolute logistical marvel. But more than that, it's this incredibly unified human movement, all answering that one single divine call we just talked about. Moving on to section 2, history and origins. Because actually, the Mecca of antiquity was definitely not the bustling modern city you see today. To really get this, we have to flash back thousands of years. It all starts with a pretty terrifying moment of isolation. By divine command, Prophet Ibrahim, or Abraham, leaves his wife Hajra and their infant son Ismail in a completely barren, waterless desert. I mean, totally uninhabited. As their supplies run out, a desperate Hajra runs 7 times back and forth between 2 small hills, Safa and Marwa, frantically searching for water for her crying baby. Just imagine that panic. But at the absolute climax of her desperation, God provides. The miraculous Zamzam spring bursts right out of the dry earth, and incredibly, that exact same spring is still providing water to millions of pilgrims today. Fast forward years later, Ibrahim and Ismail reunite to build the Kaaba, that iconic cube-like structure that serves as the focal point for Islamic prayer worldwide. This history right here, it's the absolute bedrock of the entire Hajj. Because of this incredible backstory, Hajj was established as the 5th pillar of Islam. It's actually mandatory for every Muslim who has the physical health and the financial means to do it at least once in their life. But hey, it's way more than just a physical checklist. It is a masterclass in human virtues. It teaches sabr, which is this unwavering patience you absolutely need when navigating crowds of millions. It teaches qurbani, the ultimate sacrifice of your time, your money, your comfort. It requires ita'at, or total obedience to God. And perhaps the coolest part, it enforces insani barabari, absolute unfiltered inequality. And that brings us to this point, which is just brilliant: rich versus poor. During Hajj, those labels are completely erased, tossed out the window. Every single male pilgrim wraps himself in the ihram, which is just 2 pieces of simple, unstitched white cloth. Women wear simple, modest clothing. So in an instant, a billionaire tech CEO and a humble farmer look exactly the same. There are 0 VIP sections in the eyes of God. They stand shoulder to shoulder, totally equalized by this incredibly simple dress code. All right, let's move to section 3, the essential pillars of Hajj. This is the step-by-step of how it actually works. The whole thing kicks off in Mecca with the ihram, putting on those white garments and getting into that mindset while reciting the talbiyah. Then comes tawaf. This is that iconic counterclockwise circling of the Kaaba 7 times, which really represents unity and making God the absolute center of their universe. After that is sa'i, where pilgrims walk and sort of lightly jog between the hills of Safa and Marwa. Now remember the story of Hajra we just talked about? This perfectly echoes her desperate search for water. The pilgrims are literally stepping into the historical footprints of their ancestors, experiencing just a tiny fraction of her ancient struggle. From there, the journey pushes outward, and it gets grueling. Pilgrims head to Mina, this massive, sprawling tent city, where they spend time in deep prayer and reflection. Then they push on to the plains of Arafat, which, well, we're going to focus on that massive moment in just a second. After Arafat, it's off to Muzdalifa. And get this, they sleep out under the open night sky. No tents, no beds, nothing. Just the ground, the stars, and collecting small pebbles. What are the pebbles for? Well, they're for Rami, the symbolic stoning of pillars that represent the devil. It's a powerful mirror of Prophet Ibrahim rejecting the devil's temptations. The whole physical journey then wraps up with qurbani, an animal sacrifice honoring Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his own son. Okay, but let's circle back to the day of Arafat, because it is the absolute crux of this entire journey. Islamic scholars actually say Hajj is Arafat. It is the emotional climax of the whole trip. For an entire day, millions of people stand in this vast plain, usually under a blazing hot sun. They weep, they repent, and they beg for forgiveness for every single mistake they've ever made. It's so crucial that if a pilgrim misses this one specific day, their entire Hajj is considered invalid. It is absolutely the spiritual core of the entire experience. Now, let's look at Section 4, the rules for pilgrims, because keeping all this together requires some serious discipline. What's really fascinating here is how clearly they separate the physical restrictions from the behavioral ones. On the physical side, you've got strict rules. No hunting, no perfume, no stitched clothes for men, not even cutting a single hair or clipping a nail. The goal is to strip everything back to a pure, natural, almost raw state. But the behavioral rules, those are the real test. No fighting, no anger, no pushing, no swearing. Try doing that in a crowd of millions in extreme heat. It is a monumental sociological and personal challenge. You must keep your heart clean, help your fellow pilgrims, and speak with kindness. Because ultimately, God is looking at the state of your heart, not just whether you check the boxes on the physical rituals. And that leads us to our final part, Section 5, Purification of the Soul, the ultimate payoff. There's this incredibly powerful saying or hadith from Prophet Muhammad that really hits the nail on the head. It says that anyone who performs Hajj with a pure heart returns as free from sins as the day they were born. I mean, wow. That explains the why behind all of this, right? Why put yourself through the heat, the massive crowds, the expense, the exhaustion? Because it isn't just a trip, it's a total spiritual reset. For the person who finishes this journey with pure intentions, the reward is a completely blank slate. They go home spiritually reborn, past mistakes completely wiped away, as innocent as a newborn baby. It's just an incredibly profound concept to wrap your head around. When you look at the deep ancient roots, the intense, physically demanding rituals, and that unbelievable spiritual reward, Hajj truly stands out as one of the most remarkable human experiences on the planet. So it leaves us with one big question to ponder. Are you ready for a journey that requires giving up absolutely everything you know just to find out who you truly are? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will catch you next time as we keep decoding the fascinating world around us.